Hello everyone and welcome to our channel Claim What's Yours. I'm your host Vaughan Reinecker, and continuing with our theme, another day in the life of an insurance broker in Johannesburg, South Africa. There were a couple of other emails that we're dealing with that we got some notes on, and I'd just like to run through those with you just to share what a normal broker does in Johannesburg, how it works, what you do, the interactions we have between insurers and clients. So let's continue. One of our clients operates a business out in the East Rand in fast-moving consumable goods. So that would be foodstuffs. They're a warehouse. They do exports into Africa. So it's anything, food, oils, nappies, breakfast cereals, yogurt. They export a whole lot of stuff into Africa. So at the moment, they believe that the theft cover that they have at their premises is insufficient, and they were looking to increase the theft cover at their premises. So we went to the insurance company. So these are substantial sums insured that they have at the moment. So we went to the insurers and said, our client would like to increase his theft cover. We'd like to double it. And the insurance company said, okay, yes, we'll give you a quote to double it, but there are a whole lot of extra terms and conditions that we would like to apply. So we said, okay, well, what are those terms and conditions? So our client has got very good security at their premises. They have got guards located at their premises 24 hours a day. The guards patrol their premises, the grounds, and each of the guards is equipped with a panic button linked to an off-site reaction company. So the insurance company came back to us and said, yes, we like that, but we'd also like them to put in a linked burglar alarm. And we got the note from them this morning, and we had a chat in our offices, and we went through our clients' current holdings, what they have in place. We pulled up the old survey reports that the insurance company had performed at their premises previously, and then we drafted a mail back to the insurers. So whilst the client is very happy to comply with as many of the insurance company's risk requirements, because remember, the insurance company is saying, if there's a holdup at the premises and you don't comply with the risk requirements that we've given you, we're not going to pay. That's what we're going to do. So we say, okay, fine. So we must make sure that we know what the requirements are, the client knows what the requirements are, and the insurer knows what the requirements are. And all of those requirements are fair and reasonable. So the insurance company said, the premises are patrolled. There is a fence around our client's premises, the building and the property. So we're talking about the land. So the entire premises is cordoned off, or it's fenced. There are guards that patrol the premises with the panic button. There are guards on site on the premises 24 hours a day to make sure that when the shipments are loaded and unloaded, that it's done correctly, and that nobody can come in. Then if somebody does come in and wants to hold up the premises, that at least there isn't one guard, at least a couple of guys have got panic buttons and they can alert the response company. Purpose of the response company is to not allow the criminals time to make a theft or a substantial theft. So you can't stop them from stealing, you can't stop them from breaking into your premises, but the purpose of the guards linked to the armed response or to the warden guys is to make sure that they don't have 24 hours to load up several trucks full of stuff and drive away with it, where it could be 20 million rand. So here's the scenario. Insurance company said is right. We like what you've got, but we would like the client to fit in their warehouse a linked alarm. We thought, a linked alarm in a warehouse, how do you do that? So a house I can understand, I've got a back door, a front door. I've got a couple of windows and I've got passive, so I can monitor the passage. So if anybody's going to break into the house, they're going to break through a room or the front door, then they're going to walk down the passage, they're going to set the alarm off. Purpose of the alarm again is to restrict the amount of time that they have access to the premises. How on earth do I do that in a 2,200 square meter warehouse? Where do I put the passive infrared detectors? Do I put them over a door? So if you put them over a door, somebody walks in, they duck under the door, it's facing the door now, so there's pallets stacked up there. You can duck in around between the pallets. Do you want me to put contact breakers on a door? You normally at your house, you have a contact breaker. Somebody opens the door and the alarm set, the contact is broken magnetically and the alarm goes off. How do you do that in a warehouse? There's 20 roller shutter doors. And those doors get used. They get bumped and abused and bashed and crashed with forklifts and drivers and pallets. How are we going to do that? How are we going to have the wires to do all of that? And then you also say you want a passive infrared detector. You're going to put the passive infrared detector where? In the rafters? So now the passive infrared detectors in the rafters shining down, the range of the passive infrared detector may be insufficient to pick up movement down there. In fact, it won't be sufficient to pick up movement down there. It's too far away. And it's also covering too big an area. And then there's birds. So the birds get into the premises, they fly past the passive infrared detector and they set the infrared detector off. It's just going to create all sorts of shenanigans, false alarms, false notifications. And is it really going to serve a purpose? So we went back to the insurer and said, look, putting in a linked alarm with passive infrared detectors and door contacts is not going to work in a 2,200 square meter premises. That means we would have to put it on every single opening. That's not going to fly. We've got guards. We've got guards at the premises who do patrols. So please, as our client's insurer, will you consider increasing the limit, sign it off in your technical department, give our clients the cover. The security that we have at that premises is more than sufficient, fair and reasonable to protect the client and the insurance company's requirements in terms of their policy. And that's the way that we structured the email that we sent to the insurer to request them to consider the existing security as more than sufficient. So putting an alarm in a office block where you've got a back door, a front door, and you can put a passive covering the entrance and or the main office area, the height of the roof is 2.4 square meters, is understandable and is perfectly acceptable, and we would agree to it. But we do not believe the installation of passive infrared detectors and door contact breakers inside a warehouse is going to actually serve any purpose. It's going to serve the purpose that it's intended. It's going to not work. So if you have a similar issue or any similar technical queries relating to insurance, any theft risk that you have at your property, or any other questions you want to talk about short-term insurance, please send us an email, like, subscribe, and we look forward